Hey everyone, in this video, let's compare Forge with Stable Diffusion and see what the differences are. So here we are in Dream Studio, which is where we can get access to Stable Diffusion in the most direct way. It is the site offered by Stability AI, who are the creators of Stable Diffusion. But Stable Diffusion can be run on different platforms, different ways, not just from this site here. But if you want to come here and you want to play around with Stable Diffusion on Dream Studio, it is a very straightforward interface. There's not too many bells and whistles, but it does have a few styles that you can choose from. And you do have a lot of the basic necessities when it comes to image generation. And I would also say that the results are not too bad. Uh, with image generation, it's always a bit of a roll of the dice, but sometimes it gets it right. You get some cool stuff. This one right here, I think, is pretty cool. Of the prompt that I used, and I was very specific with my prompt, and I tried it both on Dream Studio and also on Forge. And I would say that Dream Studio uh, definitely has one of the best generations here with this image here. That's really quite close. This one's not too bad either, but I really quite like that one. And with Forge, we'll take a look here. Forge also resulted in some pretty cool stuff. And Forge is using Flux. And let's just take a look here at our results. Yeah, that one, very cool. Very cool. I like that one a lot. That one as well. Very cool. That's kind of what I was going for. Something ambiguous, but all the details are there. There's some things that could be done better, maybe, but for the most part, I quite like what's going on there. And this one right here is super, super cool. Quite like that as well. Not quite at what I was going for, but also very, very cool, good result. So that's a nice surprise. This one, not too bad. Not quite what I was looking for. But these three are all really quite good. And this one is probably my favorite. So that just based on the prompt and putting them in both and not doing too much in either to turn any knobs, push any buttons, just kind of put the prompt in and see what comes out with the generator. And in this case, I would say they both have some really cool stuff, but I think the results in Forge, at least in this case, just seemed a bit slicker, a bit more detailed. Some really neat stuff going on around here. But yeah, as far as the interface for both of them, there are some definite differences here. With let's go back to Dream Studio. With Dream Studio, we have very basic controls. We have an area for our prompt. We can upload an image. We can change the aspect ratio, the image count. There is an edit page here. Um, I haven't played around with this too much, but I assume that this is for in painting. This seems quite similar to what's on Leonardo. So we could play around with that a bit, but just as far as I could tell, overall with Dream Studio, it's really quite straightforward, and you are going to need to get credits. So they do offer some free credits to start. You can play around with that for a little bit, but if you want to continue, you are going to need to go with the subscription. But I would say that the results here are really quite nice. Again, you're always going to get some randomness that is not quite what you're looking for. But in this case, I would say that the edge goes to Forge there's some really neat stuff going on here. It really captured the idea really quite well. Not exactly, but this is just with one batch of generations. I didn't do a lot. I just wanted to do kind of a basic test of like, this is what happens when you just give it a prompt, a fairly detailed prompt, and see how the generator responds. So some really cool stuff here. Now I'm running Forge through Pinocchio, so that's something to take into consideration. You might need to go through that process. I'm not going to go through that here, but there's a lot of instructions you can find on how to do that. But this is kind of the difference between running something locally on your machine. If you have the capability to do that, then you can do so. Otherwise, if you prefer the comfort of something that's more targeted to consumers, so it's less details, less complication, and you still get a pretty good result. But if you are somebody who you really want to get the most out of it, and you have a where did that go? And you have a machine that can run it, then you might want to look into using some of these tools on your own machine. And in this case, I think Forge has been quite impressive. The time was not too bad. I've tried other generators that took much more time, but in this case, I think that Forge did these images in a very timely manner, and they are quality images. I would say that, but with Stable Diffusion, it was much faster. With Dream Studio, rather, it was much faster. It was almost instantaneous, within about 30 seconds or something. So, it depends on your machine. If your machine is faster, then you're going to get faster generations. But if you've got kind of a low end or mid-range PC, then certain limitations might make things go slower, but then you also have the added plus of unlimited generations. So, but it's no reason not to support some of these sites that have subscriptions. It's up to you what it is that you're looking for. If you want that convenience, then by all means, go after that convenience. So that's Forge, and that is Dream Studio. Go ahead and check them out. I would say that in the end, it seems to me that the results with Forge are stronger, but that is something that you are going to have to install locally. So if that's not something that you're interested in, then you might want to take a look at Dream Studio. And that's all there is to it. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment and like and subscribe for more helpful tips.